It's 3 p.m. You are staring at an email you would have answered in 20 minutes a year ago. You see 3 good moves, but you cannot choose. You caple it. This specific paralysis occurs even in leaders who are getting enough sleep, keeping their hours within reasonable limits. The exhaustion stems from the inside of the head, the eternal friction and cognitive load of continuous high-stakes decision making. Modern burnout is often misdiagnosed because we focus on a leader's timesheet when we should be measuring their mental load. Standard remedies for burnout usually involve removing the workload. This includes the traditional sabbatical, blocking out Fridays, or delegating tasks to middle management. A 2-week vacation lowers the total number of decisions temporarily, but it fails to address why those decisions were exhausting in the first place. Within days of returning, the cognitive strain returns to its previous level. Delegation reduces the raw volume on items on a desk, yet it does nothing to ease the friction of the high-stakes choices that remain. Solving executive exhaustion requires looking past the volume of hours worked to focus on the rising energy cost of the individual choices that remain. Deloitte's data shows a shift. Cognitive strain has officially overtaken workload volume as the primary indicator of burnout. 62% of executives report active burnout, the highest here in the organization, and this carries a penalty. A burned out leader costs over $20,000 every year. Analysis from the Harvard Business Review identifies a unique signature for this executive level exhaustion, which manifests as a specific behavioral changes. This meter illustrates the drop in daily capacity. A healthy executive may make 20 high-quality decisions in a day. Under the strain, the capacity falls to 8. This leads to strategic paralysis, tabling moves that used to be clear, and a shift toward risk aversion that can stall a company's growth. The executive nervous system is failing because it is being asked to absorb a decision load it was never trained to carry. Executive coach Tristan de Torres, a specialist on the Noomii platform, identified the structural flaw in how we treat this crisis. Traditional burnout management focuses entirely on lowering the count of decisions. We try to subtract tasks to save the leader. But de Torres argues the real metric is the cost per decision, the internal cognitive energy exacted by a single choice. Taking a Friday off lowers the count of decisions by 48 hours, but the internal cost of making a choice on Monday morning remains exactly as expensive. As long as the internal price tag of a decision remains inflated, no amount of time off will prevent a leader's eventual breakdown. Mental fitness is the targeted mechanism used to lower the internal cost of a high-stake decisions. Consider a physical analogy. Building strength does not make a heavy object lighter. It simply requires less of your total energy to move it. Training the brain works the same way. It does not change the complexity of a business problem, but it rewires the nervous system to use less cognitive energy to solve it. With higher mental fitness, reasoning remains deliberate during high-stakes moments, and your afternoon stamina mirrors your morning energy. This mental fitness acts as upstream infrastructure, making every existing habit and responsibility sustainable without adding new tasks to a crowded schedule. Leaders can lower their decision costs immediately by isolating and naming the internal psychological pattern that makes a choice expensive. This involves identifying the specific internal voice, needing to know every single variable, the fear of a single failure, or linking choices to personal worth. Naming the pattern externalizes the conflict, moving it from a vague, exhausting emotional weight to a concrete problem the brain can process. This shift in perspective typically reduces the cognitive friction of that specific decision by 30%. When a 30% reduction in effort is multiplied across hundreds of decisions in a single fiscal quarter, the economic impact compounds exponentially. Modern leadership demands a nervous system trained to scale alongside the organization's complexity. To start building your mental fitness and lowering the cost of your decisions, visit Noomii.com and access up to 5 free coaching sessions today.